The other day, I realized that I don't know how boats work, and it really started to bother me.
What's the...
What part of it?
Yeah, what part?
I specifically didn't look it up because I was like, I feel like I want one thing that just feels like magic.
Funny
in my
enough,
life.
that's like trivia question.
Why boats don't sink?
Like how they
work?
I saw a cruise ship, and I was like,
Yeah.
that thing is like 1,000 tons.
All right, what is up, people of the internet? Welcome back to another episode of the Waveform Podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Marques.
I'm Andrew.
Nah, I'm David.
And this week, I like our topic list. We've got a bunch of random stuff, but they all are really interesting topics. So Tesla's next generation chargers are about to get a lot faster and probably more compatible with a lot of cars. Google is pressuring developers to make tablet versions of apps. Finally. And Google Assistant.
You tricked me.
Yeah, I thought you were actually copying me.
I know. And Google Assistant might be getting generative AI support, which could be really interesting because there's also rumors about Siri adding it, and then a bunch of people going, nah, they're probably not doing that. Also, the next iPhone might be titanium and much more expensive. Let's talk about it. But first, the last video we put out was I finally reviewed my roof. Never thought that would be a sentence I'd say
Intriguing.
out loud.
Yeah.
But it's a tech roof. It's a solar roof. It's Tesla's solar panels that have been on my roof for 12 full months.
Yeah.
For completely different seasons of performance. And I put the video out. It was actually really interesting. I didn't know how to package this video. I'm just like, I put together this whole video. It's 30 minutes long. What do I title this? Do I just title it Tesla Solar Roof Review? Does anybody even care about the Tesla Solar Roof?
Turns out everyone cared about the Tesla Solar Roof.
It was fascinating seeing the reactions. Actually, in real time, when I first published the video, and we'd worked for like the final hour on the thumbnail, and it goes live. And I think after the first hour, it was like a 7 or 8 out of 10. And I was like, that's about right for a roof.
Yeah.
I know I spent a ton of time on this, but it's a roof. Like, who's going to care about this? And I think I answered comments for a little bit. I drove home. When I got home, I ate, and then I looked at YouTube again, and it was a 3 out of 10. And I was like, oh, people are actually like sort of, it's like picking up a little bit of steam. Went to sleep, woke up the next morning, it was a 1 out of 10. It's been 1 out of 10 ever
trending.
since.
And it was trending.
Yeah. People, there's like 10,000 comments on it, and people are very interested. The summary is, watch the video if you really want to know a lot about this roof. We get into the weeds, the numbers, the details on the payback period, the cost, the durability, the performance, the Easter eggs, the snow sheets sliding off my roof and blocking my front door, all that stuff. I think the number one comment that I mostly got was, oh my God, you use a lot of electricity. And I was like, well, yeah, I do. Mm-hmm. I have an the main source, the main draw of electricity for me is driving every single day an electric car, and not a particularly efficient one. It's a Tesla Model S Plaid. Every day, it's like kind of a lot of energy. But yeah, generally, I learned a lot about not just how much electricity I use, but how much each of the things in the house uses, how much it uses at different parts of the day, different seasons, how much AC uses in the summer versus how much appliances use during the day. It was an interesting experience, and I felt the need to summarize it all. So it's out there.
I want to say that I'm very happy that this video did well, because often there's an inverse relationship between the amount of effort you put into something and how well it performs.
That's true.
And especially something like this that like you can get really nerdy into if you really are interested, but also like it's a pretty niche topic and maybe not a lot of people are going to like be super interested in it.
Yeah, your affiliate link isn't going to generate a lot of sales in the description
Probably
of this
not.
one. Yeah,
Yeah, but it feels good to have something like a roof do well.
Yeah,
especially
it's fun.
since you spent like a year like researching it and using
I did
it.
a long time, and I wanted to review it after like a month or two, but I was like, well, I know that I read a lot about like how different seasons will go, so like I really need to take notes for the next like 12 months on how this goes. So that's what we did. Also, there's not a lot of products that you review that you need an explainer before you review them.
Yeah.
So this is one of those where it's like, most people will never buy this or even think about buying this, but need to understand it before I review it. So that was the first part of the video.
Totally.
So that was,
I think going through all the seasons with it is also a great, like it's really important that you have that data.
Yeah.
So also I think the Tesla name probably helped jack it up.
Definitely. And it ends up in the title. It's not in the thumbnail, but it's in the title.
Yeah.
Shout out to Brandon for working on that thumbnail. He came up with like the little green tiles and stuff like that. Fun fact is, the best month of the year in New Jersey for solar is May. Who knew?
Wouldn't
Like
have
it was a combination of like most of the days in May. Like you can see in the graphs that April showers bring May flowers. You can see it go from cloudy every other day to sunny every single day in May except one. And then, funny enough, June and July were like, we get thunderstorms. We also get a lot of heat and potentially that reduces the efficiency of the panels. Just interesting stuff we learned in that
Which is
video.
interesting because I would always think that like UV energy would be what would, more
You
heat,
need the
but-
sun, therefore there's heat, therefore that feels weird to
Yeah.
lessen the efficiency. But
Exactly,
I'm sure I
right?
just don't understand it.
It was,
They
I
have
guess
to
it
cool
was
themselves and be at an optimal efficiency.
right. There was
optimal
some really.
temperature.
I think I learned a lot from the comments. There were some people saying basically like you might get about the same amount of hours of sun, but at 20 degrees less temperature in May, which is actually better for the panels.
It's wild.
So
That is
Yeah.
really cool.
Crazy.
yeah, it was cool to know.
Cool.
I feel like that video does well too because not a lot of people have access to stuff like this. Like not
Yeah.
everyone's gonna have a solar roof, and if they do, they're not gonna point a camera and like make a YouTube video about it.
Yeah.
Like that's few and far between.
True.
This was one of those products where, and this happens a few times, where before I buy it, I believe I've watched every single video on YouTube.com about the product from owners. I think there's about 15,
Yeah.
which is really fascinating.
think
Some
it-
are from roofers, some are from buyers.
It's also one where like the thumbnail is really tough, and I think having an established channel then like helping automatically reach some people helps that, because like we were looking at other thumbnails and I was like, man, yeah, this just looks like a roof. There's the downside to having solar
Yeah.
panels that look like roof tiles is the YouTube thumbnail you make about your roof later
Just
really
looks like a roof.
suffers. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's super true. But there were a lot of comments about people who were like, "I work in solar, and this was an accurate, fair, good explainer. I'm going to show this video to people I work with, stuff like that."
Nice.
So even if it's not like a bunch of new people buying solar, it is a bunch of new people understanding solar. So I thought that was worth it. But speaking of Tesla, one of the first topics we wanted to talk about is Tesla's next generation superchargers are I guess around the corner. So V4 Superchargers. So for those who are in Tesla world, we kind of refer to superchargers as like V1, V2, and V3. V1s being like 75 kilowatts, V2 being up to 150 kilowatts, sometimes 175, I think. And then V3s being the fast ones, up to 250 kilowatts. The really nice new fast superchargers with the thin cables and everything. And if you can find one of those on the map, take it. That's the only way you're going to get 1,000 miles an hour charging.
And they don't split energy. Like
That's another one,
The
yeah.
V2s, they kind of suck because you can get the whole 150 kilowatts if you're just don't have someone next to you in a stall next to you. But if someone parks next to you and plugs in, it splits the energy, so you only get like 75.
Yeah,
But
so there's
V3,
like an
you
ese
always get 250.
it's like
Yeah.
urinal etiquette. Is
It
that what
really
it's
pretty much the same
It kind
as
of
urinal
is.
etiquette,
Like
yeah.
if you're the only one at the charger at a V2 and someone pulls up and parks next to you, you're like, what are you doing, dude? Don't you know how this works?
Yeah.
So yeah, V3s they don't have to split anymore. Everyone gets full power. So it looks like there's a new proposal for V4 superchargers that puts them at 350 kilowatts, which is great because that would be, if the cars support it in the future, that's literally a 30% improvement from
Yeah.
current maximum charging power, and also potentially a much longer cable. So
Yeah.
that's going to be important in this world that we're about to enter, where there's a variety of shapes and sizes of cars that put the charging port in different places that are all
Yeah.
going to start using these superchargers.
We saw your Rivian trying to charge. That was
Yeah.
kind of a disaster.
It was tough for the F-150
the
Lightning.
F-150 Lightning, that's what it was.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
going to depend on the car. Again, there's still going to be, differences in where they put the port on the car. So I think there's going to be weird gaps and like, two people are next to each other, but they're both unable to charge. Weird stuff like that.
This cable is like way longer though.
Yeah.
So
Maybe do you think it's long enough for everyone to pull in forward? Because the idea is
I don't
if
know.
some of them put the port at the front of the car, like
Yeah.
the F-150 Lightning and the Porsche Taycan, some of them put the port at the back of the car, like Tesla and like Audi and Porsche and some others, or Porsches at the front. But the idea is if people are facing opposite directions, there's going to be weird gaps where like people park next to each other, but they both were intending to use the same charger.
Oh.
So maybe if the cable is long enough, it can reach the back of any car, and therefore everyone can park like back in facing the same direction.
I guess what this doesn't say in the proposal is where it gets placed, because right now it's not placed in the center of the parking
at the
spot, right?
corner.
So if this is in the center of every parking spot, as long as it can reach let's say that it's on the left, if it can reach the right side halfway point of the car, you should cover everything.
Yeah.
Right? If you are in the center of a spot,
yeah.
as long as it can reach the opposite side, center of the longest car you can have, then
Yeah.
you should be able to get front or back.
It won't
And
mean that you can. Oh yeah, it'll reach everything, but it
Yeah.
won't mean that everyone can face one direction.
No.
Yeah.
I think that's a tall task. Your
Yeah.
cable would have to be like 20 feet
It'll
long,
have to be
probably.
the length of every car. Yeah, that's I mean, that's better than V2 or
Yeah.
V3.
So for 350 kilowatt hour right now, you've basically only got the Porsche Taycan and Kia EV6 that can charge at 350 kilowatt hour. But
I think the
Cybertruck,
Ioniq.
Yeah, I was
might
gonna say-
be
Oh, is the-
300.
I think the Ioniq and the Kia are very similar, right? So
Okay.
they might be. Wasn't the Ioniq the fastest charging?
I think the Taycan was.
Okay,
which is
maybe you're
350
right, yeah.
kilowatt hour.
Okay.
But the Cybertruck, theoretically, if it ever comes out, is also supposed to support 350 kilowatt. So, we'll get a slow transition of V4 chargers, slow expansion of other cars, which is great because honestly, we need cars that can charge faster than they currently do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we're
They-
trying to get to the point
Agreed.
where you can just like gas nozzle 5 minutes. That's the goal.
That is and I think that's a realistic goal. I think if you drive electric long enough, you kind of learn like the best habits for charging. Like the lower your state of charge, the faster you will gain battery.
Yeah.
But you're still, no matter how good you are at it, you're nowhere near gas. Like if you have an empty tank and you plug in, how long does
Wait,
that
can
actually
we just
take?
say you just called the charging port the gas in the nozzle, and you just called gassing plugging in? Sorry, that
Oh,
was
God. Sorry.
you guys like did the word switch with each other.
How long does it take to fill up a
tank
gas
of
car?
gas?
A tank of a 0 to
literally
100
like
full tank
2 to
of gas.
3 minutes.
Yeah, my
I'd say
tank
3
of
minutes.
my gas is 10-gallon tank, I think, something like that. 11
1
gallons.
minute?
It takes
Sure,
like literally like 2 minutes.
Yeah, 1
2
to 2
minutes.
minutes.
If you have
Probably
like a
less.
huge SUV or a truck,
Yeah.
there's definitely no more than 5.
Yeah, and if your max range on a full tank is like 600 miles or something.
Oh, mine? No.
Yeah.
Mine
What
is like
is it?
380.
4 to 450.
So I'm just,
probably.
but the math would be like that's like charging 200 miles a minute, basically.
Yeah, that's a good point because a gas like 400 miles is still more than any EV.
Right.
So and you're doing it faster.
Yeah. So if you want to measure against gas, just in terms of how far you can travel and how little time it takes for you to charge, gas is approaching 1,000 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Sorry, electric is approaching 1,000 miles an hour.
Yeah.
At peak charging rates.
It's a little over that right now.
and gas is 400 miles a minute. So
Actually, question for you guys. So, like, for the EV owners here, I mean, when I fill up my tank, I pretty much make sure that the tank is like as close to empty as it can be before I fill it up. Are you guys ever letting it like?
You're supposed to only charge when it's below 20%.
Okay.
If you use a supercharger.
So if you're at like 60%, you're not pulling up to start charging.
Definitely not. Yeah.
it's
If you do it in your house, then it's
Yeah.
fine.
yeah,
But-
like in my normal commute, because I just have a regular V2 charger or whatever at home. V2 meaning level 2. Sorry. I get home at 70% or whatever every day, and I plug it in every night and go back to up to 90.
Yeah.
And that's just like a normal habit. If you're road tripping, you try to get as low as possible because that's number one when it charges the fastest,
Yeah.
and number two, the most efficient way to charge as few times as possible.
Yeah.
So would you like let it get low on a road trip and charge it up to like 60 instead of all the way to 100 and just keep stopping more frequently, but
You charge the-
more efficiently?
80
It slows down
usually.
about 80%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The charging curve is like from 0 to 80, it can amp up to, or 0 to 70 ish, it amps up to like 1,000 miles an hour. And then it dips to like 700 miles an hour until like 80, 85. And then it goes really slow.
So if you were doing a road trip, do you think you would charge up to 100% every time? Or would you go up to 70?
definitely
or
not.
like-
Because it takes
20 to
Got
80
it.
is
It basically
Yeah.
takes half an hour ish to charge from like 0 to 80%, and then it takes another half an hour to get from 80 to 100%.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not too bad then.
It's not that bad as we saw on the road trip. Like if you work that in with getting food and stuff, it doesn't actually take that much extra time, but you still do have to think about like, okay, what other things can I do while I'm charging my car? Like yesterday I wrote this podcast while I charged my car.
Nice.
So,
Yeah.
But and even like
multitask.
on top, like if you think about that road trip, you guys were charging efficiently, minus day one in the.
Well, Brandon and I were not charging efficiently.
But even in the efficiently,
Trickling.
the gas card smoked it.
Still smokes it because there's
and,
no charging curve.
and we were taking
Yeah.
extra stops for food
It's
and
linear.
stuff because but again, we say gas all that. The one thing I always think about, that's all for road trips. When you guys talk about like charging to full and like every morning leaving your house full.
It's pretty clutch.
That
Yeah.
oh my god!
If you have a
no
garage,
range anxiety on that,
if you have a
awesome.
garage and you can just always plug in when you get home, and it doesn't matter that you're just trickling, because in the morning you'll be at 90, 100%.
Yeah.
When I had my garage that I was paying $350 a month for, it was like I literally never once thought about my range.
Yeah.
And only now is my life terrible.
That's such an awesome, because it's not just nice waking up in the morning. No, you don't have to stop
Never.
But going home and being like, oh, I'm so low and I don't feel like stopping in the morning, so I'm gonna go get gas now.
Yeah,
like
the
I know
worst.
it's so
You don't
little,
do
but just
anything.
like I
It
just want to
is.
get home,
Yeah,
and I just want
exactly.
to wake up the next morning at full range.
Yeah.
That
So I
kind
think-
of feels like a wireless charger. Like my crappy 5-watt
point.
charger, I just leave my phone on there, and in the morning it's filled up,
That's
and I don't
a-
have to
Yeah.
think about it.
Great analogy of like how a wireless charger just always kind of has you ready if you're slowly doing it, but like in a pinch, a regular fast charger is like gas. Yeah,
It's
like
the same.
in that scenario, that's so much nicer. But when you're just like paying attention all the time and it's sitting on the wireless charger at night, it's just there.
If my garage was like $200 a month and not $350, I would seriously consider it, just for the ability to always. Although I charged my car yesterday and it cost me $40
To fill.
to fill it to like 95%.
Yeah. It depends. It seems like sometimes it is just as expensive as gas.
Well, it's getting to the point where it might be worth it for me to get the garage again because I was filling for free.
Oh, I see.
And so
You
also
had
the
free
time
charging.
that I'm saving, like the hour every week that I'm saving.
Yeah, free charging. I think that's worth it. So $350 a month.
Yeah.
That's probably how much I spend in electricity. And well, I don't know. I have to do the math, but that seems like it's probably worth it, especially for the peace of mind. Yeah.
And I'd have a place to park every day, which would
Yeah, a
also
place
be
to park,
nice.
which is expensive in the city, and a place to get free electricity every day, and you wake up with a full battery every day.
It's just my car is costing me like so much money now. It's so annoying.
It's a lot.
Anyway,
I have one more quick question about this, and I don't think it says it here, but at what point do we think these, so we're going to V4, they're going to start coming out. Do we think these are going to start replacing V1 chargers, or do we think they're going to be full new? Because like, even if you're replacing a V1, the infrastructure you probably need at this much different of a wattage is almost starting new. But like, at what point do you just not want V1 chargers anymore because they're just slow?
It's a good question. I mean, V1 it's slow, but it's still much faster than any level 2 charger. So like 75 kilowatts is like, I would be kind of disappointed in pulling up and figuring out it's a 75 kilowatt charger, but I'd still do it just because I need it in a pinch.
yeah.
I don't really know what Tesla's strategy is as far as installing new chargers. It seems like they're launching new sites all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't really see too many V2s being replaced by V3s. I just see new sites and they're V3s. So I don't know. I would have to look at a map and like see, oh, it turns out they are replacing a bunch of V2s with V3s. I don't really know. But I think when they pull out V4s, there's just going to be a bunch of new sites.
All I know is that they're just going to need a lot of new chargers as everybody starts transitioning to NICS.
So they have till 2025, theoretically.
Yeah.
So those cars
Not even
start
totally.
shipping with it.
2024 is going to start having the adapters though that will come with like the Fords and stuff.
Yes.
So like,
but I think
it's
as
gonna
far
come
as like
quick.
rollout, because most people don't get new cars immediately, like you'll slowly start to see it roll out, and then in 2025, 2026, those new cars will start hitting the road, and you'll slowly start to see it ramp up. So they have until then to really build a lot of new chargers. I feel like
And other manufacturers that are not just Tesla.
true.
Because they're just using the port. So, like, another part of this proposal is that ChargePoint 6000 series EV chargers will now be 22 kilowatt. So
22
it says
kilowatt.
and associated equipment cabinets. So basically,
That's pretty slow.
It's very slow. Yeah. I mean, currently ChargePoint is literally like
That's like level 2. Yeah, my home charger is
it's like a
12
hamster
kilowatts.
wheel.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, so I mean, there's going to be a lot of third parties that have also signed on to use NACS. They can also build it out. Hopefully, they're reliable at all, unlike currently. So that'd be nice.
I'm crossing my fingers.
We basically just need there to be like as many chargers as there are gas pumps, and yeah,
There's a headline in here. Do you want to break this down? It's
sure.
It's about Google and Android, and it blew my mind actually a little bit.
Yeah, so Google is actually going to finally start pushing Android developers really hard to make apps have much better large screen support.
Ah,
Yeah, this only ever really happens if you're making your own product that does the thing. And now that Google has the Pixel Fold and the Pixel Tablet, they finally have all these large screen Android devices. And I realized yesterday, there are 3 of us in this office that are mainlining the Pixel Fold right now.
facts.
It's me, you, and Alex.
yeah.
And speaking of, just to bring a new voice into here, Alex is going to take my spot for this section.
And now so that I can cut to this camera angle. Alex is back.
Whoa! Wow.
3 Pixel Fold users in one room.
You were Andrew
How often does
before.
that happen?
Let's put them all next to each other.
You have a case on yours, actually.
Yeah.
I do not.
I don't
just have
either.
a clean black. What color is yours, actually? Is it also
Mine's also black.
black?
I
Okay.
did see the gold one at Linus Tech Expo this weekend. Someone had it, and
Wait, there's a gold one.
yeah,
It's like a bronzy gold.
yeah. It's a really really pretty color.
That's what I get for being an early adopter.
I am putting the light. I'm gonna put the light leather dbrand skin on this though. Very
Nice.
excited for that.
So now we've been using. So I've had this since launch. We've had these phones for a couple weeks now. How long have you had Pixel Fold, Alex? 2 weeks. I
A
think?
month?
Oh,
almost?
okay.
I got mine like the end of June.
Okay, so we've all had sort of
I've had mine for like 2 weeks now. I
yeah
think.
experiences, probably pros, cons, things we like, things we don't like. The headline for this is that Google is starting to push for developers to make more apps optimized for the inside screen.
Yeah.
I want to ask how much each of you are currently using the inside screen, because I still, to this day, I would say I use the inside screen 10% of the time on this phone. What about you?
I think it's about accurate.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I use the outside screen about, but to me, that's a testament to how good the outside screen is.
Yeah.
I find it very enjoyable. And that's so I brought this up to Andrew. It would be funny if he was in the room that I could call him on this. But like, he was like, how are you liking it so far? And I was like, I find him using the outside screen a lot more.
Yeah.
Like probably like 85, 90% of the time. And he was like, oh, good thing you got the phone with the giant screen on the inside so you can use the outside screen all the time. And I was like, no, but that's sort of I like that. Like
Yeah.
I tried using a Z Fold and I didn't like it because I didn't like the outside screen.
Yeah.
And that was my biggest issue with it. And because I'm like, on daily use, I want to just use this outside screen and be able to get a text message off, read stuff, whatever. But then, like, for example, I was telling my mom about a trip I took to California the other day, and I was like, "Oh yeah, here's some photos." Oh wait, let me just open this real quick and
Show you on
show
a
you
huge
on a
screen.
big ass screen,
Exactly.
a big butt screen. Yeah, I mean I think that's the use case, like using it for like games, videos, stuff like that. I would love if there was a little better support for inside apps though, like for certain stuff. But
Yeah.
certain stuff is pretty enjoyable. Like if you open text messages in here from the Google Messages app, if that's what you use, it'll automatically split screen it if you open a link, which is pretty sick. So then you can still have your messages open
Yeah.
on the side and then have it'll automatically pop open the link so
There's
that
a
you can
lot of stuff like that.
There's cool little things.
So
It's
if you're using Google's own apps, I find
Most of them.
Yeah, a lot of Google's like YouTube Studio doesn't do it, but a lot of Google's own apps, have awesome experiences on the inside screen. So for the 10% of the time that I use it, which for me is like web browsing, emailing people back, I'll like reference web browser stuff and like flip back and forth. The calendar, managing the calendar, or for whatever reason, I'm in spreadsheets all the time for like Frisbee team logistics spreadsheets. So I just have it. I open it up. There's like a big screen for that. Great. But there are a lot of third-party apps that just look terrible on the inside screen.
Yeah.
Instagram is kind of the most common one, which
Yeah.
is hilarious because if you pull it up on, let's say, an iPad, there's no iPad app, so it's just a blown-up iPhone app. They stubbornly don't do it. What's funny is Samsung will just like force it to fit on the inside screen, and it looks like a stretch version, but it looks better.
It looks good.
Versus on the Pixel Fold, there are just columns on either side. There's a couple other apps like that are not updated. Have you played games that support the inside screen? I don't. think I found any.
I played some Angry Birds. That works.
Interesting.
I
Okay,
still
that
play Angry
scales.
Birds. I
Nice.
love Angry Birds.
Okay.
It works on there. It looks pretty cool.
Okay.
That's the only game I've played though.
Yeah, I'm not a huge game. I don't get. Do you do stuff on the inside screen?
I don't. Yeah. Yes.
So what stuff do you do on the inside screen, and how much do you use it?
The best part of the inside screen is viewing photos is amazing. Like it's so cool because these phones have really great resolution anyway, and like viewing them on a huge screen is cool. And then watching YouTube videos. Those are basically the two use cases that I've found are useful.
Do you do like the half folded
No.
YouTube videos?
No.
I started doing that because of the aspect ratio.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna have bezels no matter or black bars no matter what.
Yeah.
So I started like propping it up on like a.
I
90
tried
degree.
doing that on the plane, and I was like, I prefer to just like hold it and watch it.
Yeah.
I don't love web browsing with it because I don't like split keyboards and like split typing with my fingers. Like I don't have the like muscle memory to know where the letters are.
Do you ever do this and flip it
turn
the
it
other way.
sideways. Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, the watching YouTube videos and viewing photos part I think is really great. I think obviously it makes sense to have it be closed and just use it closed all the time because the screen is higher quality. You don't get the divot in the center. Yeah, I will say I tried so hard to do the whole like 2 apps side by side, like multitasking faster thing.
Yeah.
And I found it was more cumbersome than just using the quick app switch on the front.
I think we're really used to the like quick app switching, and I still do that a lot on the outside screen. It just feels like the few times that I actually open up the Pixel Fold, my brain goes, "Oh, we're doing something important here," and I just start I take advantage of more of those features when I'm opening the phone. So I don't know. That's like I do wish some things were different about it, but I feel like I've calibrated myself to that experience.
I tried to use the split screen thing, and it's like I was trying to log into my Air Canada account. So I was like, oh, this is great because I have all like the information for my Airplan number and all this stuff stored in my Google Keep. So I have Google Keep on one half and the Air Canada app on the other half. It is just hard. I don't know. It wasn't really better. I really like just multitasking quickly. But I think the things I like the most about this phone are the aspect ratio of the front screen because I like the closer to 16:9. It's kind of fun. It's like a throwback. And then just like, watching videos, viewing photos on the inside screen is really great.
You know what I've done on the inside screen that I feel like would be useful for you based off how I see how you use workflow
technology
on your computer, like when you're researching and stuff. Doing a side-by-side Google Doc and web browser, solid. It's nice for like cutting and pasting, researching, jotting down notes, whatever.
Yeah,
I've used it for that a couple
pasting.
times.
Yeah.
Copying and pasting left to right windows is huge.
Yeah,
I do that
and
a lot.
in Android 14, you're going to be able to drag and drop text from one window to another.
That's
That
nice.
sounds
Which
sick.
is really cool. You don't have to do the whole copy paste. You just drag it.
That
I
sounds
did
cool.
one thing recently in emails because if you want to attach multiple things to an email, typically you'd in like a single screen phone, like a normal phone, it's a normal process. In this phone, I had Google Photos on one half and I had the emails on the other half.
You just drag the photo
and I like selected a photo and then started selecting other photos and I just dragged a handful of photos over and it just dropped them all in the email and attached them in a list. And in that moment, I was like, that's why I got this
That's
phone.
awesome.
That's
awesome.
why I got this
The
phone.
worst part about this phone for me is that when I'm holding it, the volume rocker is right where my thumb is, and I turn the volume down all the time by accident. And then when I have it open,
I do that too.
when I have it open, if I have it like this,
Yep.
I'll also turn the volume up or lock the phone, and it's really annoying.
Yeah, either lock the phone or accidentally long press it, and then it's like, Google Assistant, what do you want? I'm like, nothing.
But let's talk about what Google is trying to do with push these third-party app developers.
Okay.
So they are now, starting this month, they said starting in August.
Starting.
They're going to raise the visibility of apps that resize appropriately.
Just starting.
Just
Just gonna start doing that.
Yeah, well, God. Yeah. So they're going to basically make them part of the Google Play Editor's Choice apps. They're also going to display warnings on apps if they don't display well on large screens.
Sick.
Which is kind of crazy. It's just going to be like, hey, if you use a tablet, this is going to suck.
None of your social media apps will look good.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if it was specifically this, but I saw something about like if you have it open and you're in Google Play, like if you're on a large screen mode in Google Play, it'll show the large screen screenshots. Whereas if you're just closed, it'll show
that's
the
smart.
small screen.
That's clever. I was just going to say, I was saying to Andrew, hasn't Apple been doing this for like 9 years or something? Like when you open the App Store on an iPad, there's a little filter at the top that says, would you like to see
Made for
apps
iPad.
made for iPad?
Yeah.
And that's
But how
just-
long has the iPad existed versus large screen Android phones?
well,
or tablets?
large
I guess
screen Android
tablets have
phones, but
existed
Android
for-
tablets,
That's
like
true.
the Motorola Zoom
That's
back
true.
in the day, there was a couple optimized apps there. Like Gmail was split screen back in the day. It just feels like they should have been.
Google just
doing
like
this
gives
for a
up
while.
on things so much. Like they made Honeycomb, which was supposed to be like the tablet, the fork of Android that became the tablet
I
version.
forgot about that, and I just got so triggered. Oh my god!
What was that first tablet called?
the Zoom, the Motorola Zoom.
Motorola Zoom.
Yeah. And the Atrix as well.
I loved that thing.
But they literally made one version of Android that was made for tablets, and then
Yeah.
they just gave up on it.
Yeah, and it had hollow. It had like the glowing
ice
blue
cream sandwich,
Yeah.
hollow. Yeah, but now they're just pushing that all into Android 14, which is good.
Do you think it'll be an Android 15, or is this gonna stay with Android 14?
Depends on how well the Pixel Fold does.
Yeah, if there's a Pixel Fold 2, which we don't know.
Yeah.
I would hope so.
There has to be.
At this point, there better be.
There has to be a 2. I don't know about a 3, but there has to be a 2.
You say that, but this is Google we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, I agree with you. This is a first-gen product. You got to see it through.
Yeah.
Second-gen's got to be in the works. But
yeah. But there's a lot of products there's a lot of apps that just like show giant black bars on the sides, like X, Twitter.
Yeah.
And
also,
Instagram.
this is maybe one of my biggest like annoyances. Do you guys see the ones that? So like X, for example, is designed to be okay in this format, like the vertical. Oh God! But then when you open it on horizontal, it takes up like just over half the screen, and that's for whatever reason that annoys the crap out of me. It takes up like a little more than what it's allowed. But then if you turn it the other way, it does go full screen.
yeah,
Oh.
it's weird.
I didn't even know that.
So
There's a lot. Okay, hot tip to Pixel Fold owners: if you turn
All 7 of you.
Yeah, 3 of them are in this room. So the other 4 of you, let's address you directly.
oh, look at that going.
So
Yeah.
X in that aspect ratio, when you turn it,
Will fill the whole
does
screen.
fill the screen.
Yeah.
And
The way I think about this phone is it's a sideways Z Fold. So
rotate.
So like this is a Z Fold right here. If you turn the Pixel Fold on its side, and then this, if you turn the Pixel Fold the way it opens, is a Z Fold.
It's just
sideways.
awkward because like you naturally open your phone like this, and to just have to do this for like most apps to make them actually fill the screen is not great.
No, it's not fantastic.
So
No.
yeah,
I love that though. It reminds me of a Nintendo DS or something.
A little bit.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm glad Google's doing that. Hopefully, it actually makes a difference.
Fingers crossed.
Doubt, but we'll see.
Developers, get on it, please. Again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Last take on the Pixel Fold. I want everyone's favorite and least favorite thing about it since they've started using it. You said the buttons were your least favorite. Is that actually your least favorite?
Yeah.
All right.
My battery life has actually been fine.
Okay.
Mine has been too.
Really?
I think it's done the traditional Pixel curve of getting better for me.
I've been waiting for mine to do that. It hasn't done it.
Really?
I am on the Android 14 beta, and that has some more battery enhancements.
I'm not, and it's still cooking for me. I don't know.
What's your favorite thing about it?
It's split between the aspect ratio of the front screen, which is just kind of fun. It's just nice having a 16:9-esque phone, and then also just viewing YouTube videos on the inside screen. It's really nice, really cool.
Alex, what about you? Favorite and least favorite?
I think mine's the outside screen too. That's the difference maker. I think that's why I went. That's why I tried it, and then was like, this is good enough to keep. Like I had every intention of potentially returning this thing.
Interesting.
In
so
like
it
2
sold
weeks.
you just because you loved using the outside.
Because I like
so
the
much.
outside screen,
Okay.
and like honestly, like I think the aspect ratio is great too, and like the size of it is very pleasing for whatever reason. Like it's sort of. Andrew talks about it with like the Zen phone. I don't know if he's dropped this take on the podcast yet, but like where he's like, I kind of like having a smaller phone because it makes me want to be on my phone a little less, like, but in a good way, you know? And this is like enjoyable to use, so I can use it as much as I want to use it. And yet having a slightly smaller screen makes me be like, for whatever reason, just clicks in my head of like, oh, maybe I should, put my phone away and enjoy life a little
I think
more,
this is the proper shape for a foldable, just like you're going to use it closed most of the time, but then when it's useful to open it up, you open it up versus Samsung's, which is like, this is a really awkward aspect ratio until you have it open.
It's like Samsung focused first on the inside screen, and the outside screen was sort of an awkward result.
Yeah.
And this one felt like the opposite.
Especially, you remember the first generation Fold that had like the.
I mean, that cements it. When you look at that phone,
That
you're like,
was
they didn't care about the
insane.
outside screen.
Yeah.
They cared about the inside screen.
That outside screen is like the same size as like the other
tiny.
foldables now.
It's
You know what
the
I mean?
size of
this-
like a palm phone, basically.
Yeah,
It's
it's
so
terrible.
tiny.
I actually almost did a video comparing the size. It's bigger than the Palm phone, but it is not by much.
Not by much, yeah.
Least
But yeah.
favorite thing.
Least favorite thing. I mean, I think it's just the lack of optimized apps so far on the inside. I mean,
That
it still
Google.
feels early on, but this is the same feeling I've had with every Google tablet I've ever had. I've tried to get on Google tablets a few times, and every time I've been like, no. Like I had a Galaxy Tab A4, I think, and I liked it, and I liked Dex. Dex was pretty cool, but like I was like, just in a normal Android tablet application, this kind of sucks. And I sort of feel similar. Like I don't want to say that this sucks on the inside, but it's not there yet. Like it feels too early. So like hopefully with this adding them incentivizing people to make the apps more optimized inside, that'll help. But right now that is like my least favorite software thing. And then the hardware thing is the button placement for sure. Like it is annoying that like, cause I do use that like little hack of turning it this way a lot. And then I find like my pinky is constantly hitting the power button and either turning it off or hitting Google Assistant.
Yeah.
And that interrupts whatever I'm trying to do. And obviously we want everything to be as tight as we can when we're using our devices. So that's a little unintuitive. I don't know how they fix that though.
I'll suggest a way to fix it, because this is one of my favorite things about this phone is I actually like that the power button, being the fingerprint reader, is fast and works really well. But I do feel like these buttons are a little too loose. Like they're too easy to press. So if you look at like an iPhone, a Samsung phone, the buttons are clicky, but they take a little more effort to press. So if you like just hold the phone on the side, you won't actually press the button. Let's tighten up those buttons a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. Adding a little more oomph would probably help.
Yeah, less accidental presses.
And maybe separate buttons for the volume rocker too. Like
some,
an up button,
it's
down
like
button.
a choice. Some of them do the rocker like this. Some of them will do separate buttons. I think maybe the rocker makes it a little looser, and if they had separate buttons, they'd be firmer. So that's a good suggestion for them. I will say my least favorite thing is still the battery life, but my favorite thing is the fingerprint reader and the front aspect ratio. So that is our little micro discussion on probably half the Pixel Fold users in North America right now. It's a pretty good density in the studio. But we should bring Andrew back to do trivia. Alex, thanks for joining us.
Of course.
If they want to hear more of your voice on podcasts, I hear you have one as well.
Yeah, Locked On Knicks. If you're a Knicks fan, I don't know what the Venn diagram is there, but there's a couple
than zero.
Yeah,
Greater than
there's
zero.
One in this room I know, so that's cool.
Yep. Dad is 2, so that's at least 2 people.
There you go.
There you go. Let's grab Andrew. Let's do some trivia. All right, welcome back, Andrew.
Thank you.
We had a little Pixel Fold inside discussion. Sorry you couldn't be a part of it. With your small single screen phone.
Yeah, my phone is probably like the size of one of these sides. Oh my god, that's actually really close.
Yeah.
But now we're doing some trivia, so we gotta get to trivia stuff.
Back to screwing up trivia.
Trivia. So, first
I don't
question.
need the marker yet.
Yeah.
What year was the Google Play Store launched? Bonus point if you get the month. Another bonus point if you get the day.
Wait, Google Play Store or
Yes.
the Android Marketplace?
No, the Google Play Store.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So,
All right.
so what day did they start calling it the Play Store? Basically, okay.
What year, month, or day? 1 point each.
Should we give another point for hour?
No.
Weather that day? 2 points. Shirt worn?
Support for this episode comes from Siren Marine, a Yamaha company. Everybody loves a smart home. Adjusting your thermostat or lights from anywhere in the world kind of feels like the future. Well, with Siren Marine, boat owners can take advantage of the same high-tech convenience. Their smart boat monitoring system makes it easy to monitor your vessel's vital signs from anywhere with a simple app that offers real-time information about battery levels, exact location, and more. It all adds up to a connected boat that's more secure than ever before. Siren Marine, your home is smart, your boat should be too. To learn more, visit sirenmarine.com/waveform.
All right, we are back. So, more Google news. There's actually a lot of Google news this week,
dig it.
surprisingly. Something that we've been waiting for a very long time that seemed like the very natural accelerant of this large language model chat GPT thing is that Google is now going to supercharge the Google Assistant with generative AI and Bard support.
Send it.
Which seems like something that made sense for a very long time, right? Like you have these large language models that are creating all of this text. Naturally, Google has really good voice AI stuff with Google Assistant. Makes sense that now you would ask it a question and it would just be able to tell you an answer.
Well, you got to be careful though, because it is Google.
Yes.
And you remember our angle on Google versus like maybe just a Bing thing, where Bing has a lot to gain so they can go a little crazy.
Yeah.
And you know how people remember when Siri first came out, everyone immediately tries to break it. They just start asking it insane questions.
Totally.
For all of that activity, it already kind of had a built-in failsafe of like, we didn't really account for this command, so we're just going to do a web search or just tell you we don't know.
Yeah.
if you pull it in a random insane query into Bard, it'll give you an answer. It'll just tell you something.
Yeah.
And that answer might not necessarily be real.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Google wants that right away.
An interesting thing, both in the Google generative experience that they have for search right now, and also just Google in general and transformers in general, is when you're training one of these transformers, you can train it to be more accurate versus more creative. The accuracy just means that it will more directly pull from sources.
Source. Right.
And I think the Google generative experience does that pretty hardcore, to the point where there's a lot of writers that are saying it's literally scraping my website and saying the exact same phrases that are on my website, which is kind of funny because currently Google Assistant already goes like according to Wikipedia, and then it says the exact chunk that's on Wikipedia.
Right. So it has that where if there are certain types of phrases or things that it knows, and it's like scraped and already in the knowledge graph, where if you ask like how tall is this person, what's this person's birthday, how old is this person, you can usually get an answer straight from Wikipedia according to Wikipedia or according to this website.
Yeah.
Like we've scraped a lot of these sites and we'll say that, but Bard often doesn't tell you the source.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of says an answer. And I don't know how much Google wants to like have the assistant start just saying things if it doesn't have a good answer or a good source for them.
I mean, it's going to pull from a source no matter what, right? Because it kind of has to in order to answer. I mean, maybe this is naive, but like when I'm asking just my Google Home, it's usually something really quick I want. It's not like I'm like writing up an article and I'm like, hey, G-word, I need like this. It's more like, oh, I'm watching TV and I forgot who that what other show
I think that's
X
how most
actor
people
is, and
use
like
it.
so I wouldn't, not that I wouldn't care that it's not accurate, but I'd be like less worried. Like I hate when I ask a simple question, it's like, according to Wikipedia, it is this.
Yeah.
Also, they're 5'9" and they were born on this day. It's like, just chill.
Yeah.
Like understand. I just want a very simple
My
answer
guess
here.
as well is that it's just going to be a much more natural language-esque assistant, right? You can just have regular conversations with it.
I do like that.
But for the hard data parts, it'll probably be tailored to pulling the hard data. So if you're just having a conversation or you like ask it a question, it'll be like, oh yeah, Marques, let me check my sources. Okay, over here it says, and then data pull, blah, 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 blah. Anything else you want to know? You know, that kind of thing. And the cool thing about transformers too is because like the way they work, every single time you like ask a query, it'll pull different stuff. It'll say something different. So that'll make it so it's not like, according to Wikipedia, it'll just be like, all right, today I found that looks like on Wikipedia, this is this is this. And then the next time it might be like, yeah, let me search that for you. On Wikipedia today, it did blah, 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 blah.
So it feels a little more natural.
It feels more natural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited for like more natural in like assistant in my homes and stuff like that though, because I feel like with all this like generative AI chatbot things we're doing, I'm getting used to asking some of them a little more like regular conversation questions.
Right.
And when I do it at home now, it's just like, I don't understand. An example, I was in my car, actually, I was driving home and I wanted to listen to this song, and it was, remember we went and saw Sammy Ray and the Friends and a band opened for them? I forgot that band's name. And I was like, I can't remember the name of the song. And I tried to be like, Google smart. And I pressed, I was like, who was the band that opened for Sammy Ray at Summer Stage? And I'm like, this feels easy.
Yeah.
I feel like Google should figure that out. I just kept going, I don't understand. I don't know. I can't figure it out.
I feel like it would be able to get that.
Exactly. And I think that like a better conversation piece in these things where you're just sitting in your living room or your car and you can't actually like, that sounds really nice.
That sounds like a pretty ideal use case.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of, we were talking about how we use Assistant, and then I think there's also a difference in how sometimes they portray people using Assistant, which is how they want people to use Assistant, which may be a little more of, give me a recipe for this thing. And then they just start making the recipe. I don't know if you've ever done this. Have you ever done this? They go, hey, give me a recipe for pumpkin bread.
No, because
and
I
then
don't
it
have
goes,
unlimited
all right.
food in my house.
And then they go, all right, here's the recipe. It shows up on the screen. They just go, all right, here's my, they just start making whatever it tells them to make. And it's like, I don't know that anyone does that.
Well,
I
because
think-
you need to go buy the stuff.
yeah, and I need to like check the first 5 recipes to make sure I like the first one. And
Yeah.
there's all sorts of other weird things about it. But
you
yeah,
guys
I
need
think
more
that-
stuff in your kitchen pantries.
No,
have
I mean banana bread's an
literally
easy
zero
one,
food.
but there's just all kinds of weird. Or remember how there's ChatGPT might have done this. Someone told it what was in the fridge, and they said, "What can I make?"
Yeah, those Bing.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
that seems like something that would be helpful for
And
assistants
there are
to do.
websites that can do that. So
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Well, assistant can't currently do it, so it'd be nice if I could go
I've
take
got
a
these
picture.
ingredients. Oh yeah, that'd be even better.
Tell assistant, "Hey, what can I make?"
Yeah, take a picture of the inside of your fridge and be like, "What can I
Or
make out of
use your
this?"
Samsung smart fridge that's already looking inside it. When you ask
Oh,
it,
now
it
we're
just
talking.
generally it knows what you have already. That's
Now we're talking.
kind of creepy, but kind
Yeah.
of awesome. Also, maybe the language model will just understand that when I ask for a conversion of gallons to cups or whatever, it doesn't need to teach me the equation afterwards.
Right.
I ain't
why
paying
yours
you
does
for that. Yeah.
Mine never does that, but yours seems to.
Mine
always
does.
do that.
I hate it so much. It's the worst
Like,
part of it.
how many cups are in a gallon? To convert cups to gallons, I'm like, no.
It always tells you the answer, and then it's like, here's the answer you need, and I'm
There's
starting
way
to
too much
pour, and then it's just like, if you ever want to do this in the future, you just take blah 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 by 1.38.
Yeah,
I kind of like that though.
I hate
personally.
it gets carried away sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of like the idea of my assistant being more like a Jarvis kind of thing. You can just have natural communications with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jarvis.
And then over time, maybe some ambient computing stuff, just happening in the background.
I think one of my favorite improvements to iOS 17 in that standby mode is that you can just talk to Siri from across the room, and it keeps responding as long as you talk until you just say like "thank you" or "I'm done." And I did this in the demo video where I just asked it a question. I said, "What's the weather in Birmingham today?" And it told me the answer. And then I said, "What about this weekend?" I didn't have to say, "Hey, assistant," again. I didn't have to like ask it again. I just kept talking like a normal conversation. And I think if assistant can do more of that, in general, they should all be doing more of that. Just sort of natural language processing along the way. And then when you're done, you're done.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty sweet if we're moving towards that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do have listed here that it's focusing on mobile first, though. So
Yes.
that like what we're talking about isn't exactly
It'll
that. But-
probably be on the phones first.
but hopefully it'll move to that eventually.
Yeah.
And I think that's cool. I do wonder really quick. I was talking about Android Auto. That would still be considered mobile, right? Because it's just pulling from my phone,
Yeah.
anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pulls from your phone assistant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Google is also starting a Find My Device network, like an AirTag competitor. And
They announced it a while ago, but
Oh,
it got
yeah, they did.
delayed.
I'm excited for this because I lost my bag on my last trip and I don't have an iPhone. And
Yeah.
I was like, should bring an AirTag on my next trip. And I didn't, but I should have. And then I wouldn't have to if this was around.
Story time. So I use Pixel Fold now, but I keep the iPhone on me because it's like a universal remote for a lot of the Apple services that are really useful to me. Literally yesterday, I was my friend's looking for a new job, so we were going around to different bars and cafes and dropping off her resume and stuff. And I brought my camera with me because I always bring a camera with me, and I had my AirTag on it. And at the end of the evening, I was like, "Where's my camera?"
Oh, God. It could be any of these 9 places we were
The
saying.
most David story.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why on my camera I now have an AirTag, and I have a little thing that says, "If found, please call me at this phone number."
It's only one camera, so it's not a typical David.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but I had to, so I hotspot from my Pixel Fold to give my iPhone data just so I can look on the Find My network where my phone is, or where my camera is.
Yeah.
and it showed me exactly where it was.
That's
I
awesome.
went back to that bar. I said, "Did you find a camera?" They said, "Yep, here you go."
Wow.
Saves your life. So if Google can make a competitor, that'd be great, because there are pretty much just as many Android phones out there in the US as there are iPhones. And in other countries, AirTags are probably kind of not useless, but not nearly as powerful.
Their advantage is not nearly as big.
An Android version of this, and basically every other country that's not the US, is going to be massive.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I would still in the camp of like AirTags are one of Apple's best inventions, best products of the last maybe decade.
Yeah.
Just because they're just so everyday person, universally useful.
Yeah.
And the lock-in of just AirTags, like there's an AirTag in each of our tripod bags. So if we ever check a bag, I get to follow it and know exactly where it is. I never have any confusion about whether
airlines
it's
can't lie to you
it made it
anymore.
on the plane or not. Like you can't lie to me. I know where the bag is. How do you know? Because I'm looking at it. Like I
Yeah.
can see the location. All kinds of uses for AirTags. And so to have sort of a equivalent that's just available and takes the same advantage of the devices that are everywhere for Android is so clutch, so sick. I can't wait for this to be real. Also, it seems like, what was it, a settings leak, and there's some more granular control?
Yeah, so they're giving you a lot more granular control. So when Apple first launched AirTags, they got in a lot of heat because obviously it was like stalking people, and then there was also a thing where it would be like, this AirTag's following you, and you're just like, and you don't know when to have it on, and just people with privacy issues. So Google's been thinking a lot about that, and I think that's why they delayed the rollout. So now they have all these different controls. So you can make it so you can turn them off fully whenever you want. You can just turn off this AirTag, so it's not being used. You can enable it to find devices offline so that it uses like GPS pinging of different phones. You can have it so it can only turn on in high traffic areas. So like if you go to an airport and there's like a lot of phones in a dense area, then it's easier to find your thing. You know, maybe you need to ping your bag on the conveyor belt in an airport or something like that.
Okay.
So yeah, they just have they have a ton of settings in the app. The settings got leaked. So
It's funny. This is almost like we're used to seeing Apple have things second and being like, oh, these are all the hardships that they worked through as a new product. Like we have that fixed. For once, Apple did that, and we got to watch them suffer a little bit.
Apple does it first, Google does it right.
yeah.
It's the opposite of normal. This is the thing, because the most annoying thing about AirTags or about the whole Find My thing is how often you get pinged and don't want to. I get told that I left my iPhone behind every day. Like I walk to a different room in the studio. It's like, hey, did you know you don't have your phone?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I know.
I need that.
Did you know but it's with me. It's just not on me.
Well, even if it's on you, like I'll have my camera around my neck and I'll get a ping that's like, you left your camera behind. I'm like, no, it is around my neck.
That's just wrong then.
Yeah.
It's wrong.
So let me dig into the settings and be like, and there's often a button comes up that says like trust this location, but I still want to know if I leave my keys at work and leave work. So I can't hit trust this location, because if I do leave work, it's not going to tell me.
Inside.
So I do need it to tell me, but I need to be more accurate. I need settings.
Yeah.
I need the settings to help me dial this in.
I need
and so
this so
Google's
bad.
doing it right, where Apple was just like, you know, they obviously have a great
Where
product,
this
but
does track is that Google's giving you settings and Apple's not.
that's pretty much on track. Yeah.
This
Pretty perfect.
This is funny. I didn't know AirTags did that. Probably one of the most used features on my watch is the ring your phone button.
Yeah.
Which I use on my like Google Home as well a lot also. But when I'm in a place where I feel comfortable, I like don't carry things in my pocket. I just put them down. The amount of times I leave my phone somewhere in this office and then just go, I haven't seen it in a few hours. I don't know where it is. Like if it actually pinged me to be like, you walked away.
So it would tell
Relax.
you walked away, and you'd be like, where did you walk away? And it would just tell you the address. And you have to go look it up and see if you can dig in the app.
So it's not much different.
It gets pretty annoying. It gets pretty annoying. I think Apple needs to be adding some settings.
Yeah.
Shocker. Shocker. They're not going to. Yeah.
All right.
I think we have time for another ad break and another trivia section.
Sounds good.
That was pretty good.
pretty good. Also, Zuzu is so freaking cute right now.
Oh
dude.
my.
Oh my lord.
For the audio listeners, Zuzu is Adam's dog, who is here with us today.
Insanely adorable.
And she's sleeping, and one of her floppy ears is propped up on the wall. There's always something about dogs that have floppy ears, and the ears stand in some position somehow. It's very adorable.
Anyway, trivia question number 2. Google Play was created when what 3 Google services combined? Doing a Google Play week.
Wow. Interesting. Three? I don't know it was 3. All right.
All right, welcome back. We got one last section to talk about some quick stuff. I feel like iPhone 15 rumors are kind of spinning up a lot. It's
Because
August now.
It's a month away.
September is a month away, and we are starting to get a whole bunch of the most interesting iPhone 15 stuff. I kind of want to summarize it all. I think iPhone 15 Pro also is the more interesting one.
Definitely.
Because that seems like the one where we're going to see the most new stuff. So I'll scroll down this list a little bit for you guys and maybe give me your reactions. I'll also have some of my own. First reaction, thinner bezels. Do we care? It's not care so much.
30% thinner bezels.
Slightly thinner bezels.
I mean, it's cool. The most we get to full screen, the better.
It's going to look just like the old phone, just a slightly thinner bezel.
It's one of those things that'll look nicer. We'll all see it and be like, "That's really nice,"
And
and
they'll
then
get used
no
to it
one else will
immediately.
like really
Yeah.
understand the
Yeah.
difference.
Yeah.
I mean, 30% of that small of a bezel already is
Yeah.
a very
It is
minuscule
already.
number. Yeah.
And already uniform bezels. Not super, not amazing, but okay, cool. Titanium frame. So moving from our precious, we have aluminum on the non-pro, and we have stainless steel on the pro right now. Titanium. How are we feeling about?
Is that what the Apple Watch Ultra is made of?
Let's look it up.
I think it's titanium.
It's obviously super important.
Also, my Fujifilm TX1 is titanium, and I really like that material.
Isn't there a song called Titanium?
Apple Watch Ultra is made with titanium,
That's right.
as they call it, aerospace grade titanium.
That's because they use titanium.
They use titanium in space, so now it's aerospace grade titanium.
Okay.
Like you can say you use aerospace grade
Mayonnaise.
mayonnaise. Exactly.
They probably
Exactly.
got different mayonnaise in outer space.
They have powdered
No
mayonnaise.
way.
No, they have regular mayonnaise. Anything liquid has to be
Squirt's
different.
the same. Well, look,
Yeah.
mayonnaise is kind of a liquid.
So anyway, titanium phone. How do we feel about slightly different material on the
It's
Pro?
going to be lighter.
Is
Because
that
of-
lighter than steel? Mm-hmm. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
It's a
That's
game
really good.
changer. I think I'm gonna go to the whole Apple ecosystem.
This
now.
feels like one of those things where like Apple knows they can't or don't want to make the phone exactly the same as last year, so they need something to make it look and feel just a little different from last year, so you know that's the new one.
They don't use the S model the S thing anymore.
Right.
So every
Even though
year
you've-
they actually do have to do something slightly different. Like from 12 to 13, they made the notch smaller. 13 to 14, they made Dynamic Island.
Right.
14 to 15. So now every year you get at least a slight change in look.
Yeah.
And I think that's so people can
That's
look
the
at it and
Apple-
be like, that's the new one.
Exactly. That's exactly. I literally think that's the primary thing they're trying to accomplish with
Yeah.
that.
It
So
is,
that's
but
that.
it's like every year you have to have that like note at the end of the video, like if you're upgrading from last year, it's probably not worth it because it's only this minuscule difference. This year it's gonna be like it's titanium.
Yeah,
if you
it's-
really want titanium, upgrade.
Yeah.
Other than
And
that,
smaller bezels.
and slightly smaller. Bezels.
I'm sure it'll have a better camera, but whatever.
Something
Every
like
year.
that,
Here's one we've talked about a little bit, but we can give a quick synopsis. Action button might be replacing the mute switch, but you could have it be a mute switch.
Yeah, so we didn't talk about that last time. We just talked about it having an action button, but now the rumor is that button will be replacing the mute switch. I think, yeah, it could be the mute switch. It could be something else. I think it would be really sick if you could map that to like your focus mode or even a GPS location. So doesn't the Apple Watch Ultra like have dynamic action button?
It has the action button, and you can map in the watch app what you want it to do, which is a couple
Can
small
that
things.
be based on location?
I think
No.
I think that was like something we said would be really cool when that happened. Like, imagine you're working out at
You're on
the
the
gym
track.
or the track. That action button is relevant to what
Yeah.
position you're
So
in.
when you're inside an app, yes. Like if I'm in a track workout, it can detect that I'm at a track, and now the action button is giving me like lap timer segments. But as far as just like on my home screen, hit the action button, it's like this will either launch a certain app or start a workout, basically.
Yeah. But it can do a bunch of other stuff now, which I think is really cool. I would prefer to have a button that does multiple things than just mute a thing. So
Yeah.
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
going to try my hardest to map this to Google Assistant. I don't know what it's going to take,
you can,
but I'm going to try.
you could probably just make a
It's probably going to be a
shortcut.
Siri shortcut.
Yeah.
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 All right, so that's that. What about USB Type C? Yes. It seems like it is gaining steam as a possible iPhone 15 Pro feature. And it's going to be hilarious as they market it alongside a Lightning iPhone 15. But they're going to be like, oh, you can shoot ProRes
didn't
and
think
you
of
can
that.
get faster footage off of the phone. and
This
all
is a
other
bet we
stuff.
should make because there's two options here.
I love it.
There's two options.
Yeah.
Either they put USB-C in both the 15 and the Pro, and they only put Thunderbolt in the Pro,
Okay.
that
or-
seems more likely. I think.
Right.
or they put it in the Pro, but they keep Lightning on the 15 because they do have an extra year. They're doing it a year ahead of when the EU is making them do it.
Right. Okay. So I was thinking about iPad when you said that. And in an iPad Pro, it's Thunderbolt and USB-C. And in a regular iPad Air, it's just USB-C.
Exactly.
But they also didn't come out at the same time. So there was a brief period where there was a Thunderbolt iPad Pro and a Lightning iPad Air before they switched it. But with this, it's going to be the phones all launch at once. So I think, if I'm betting, I think they're going to do.
I'll place my bet. I think I'm going to be wrong, but the possibility of this happening, it would be so funny if there was a Lightning and a USB-C.
I think they
announced
might
at the
do
same
it.
thing, and I'm going to take that bet just because I assume you guys will bet the opposite, and then I can bask in the
It's
hilarity
possible,
of that
dude.
happening and both of you losing.
I
again
think
at
they're
the same
equally
time.
possible.
It would be so funny. The Thunderbolt and regular USB-C makes so much more sense. Like give
They'd
the
have to
advantage
brand
of
it though.
one.
They'd have to brand it like Pro Data.
I
or
think they're
Pro
going to brand it.
Transfer.
It's going to be a hilarious
Data
branding.
XDR.
Yeah. Well, because remember when we've had 60 hertz iPhones for an eternity, and there was that moment on stage where they got to the iPhone 14 Pro, whatever it was, and it was like Pro Motion. And you're like, oh, I see what you did there. You just called 120 hertz LTPO something Pro, so you could put it in the Pro phone, not the base phone.
But now they're stuck with it.
I think they
in the
can
Pro phones only.
Yeah, that's true. But does that mean so?
The
if
rumor
they,
is that the regular 15 will also be 60 hertz. So I think they're yeah.
Okay, so that's interesting. So if they only move USB-C to the Pro phone, that would imply that it's a Pro feature that's never going to come
If
to
they
the
branded
non-Pro.
it that way
But why else would they only put it in one of the phones? You know,
to get you to buy it.
because I feel like if they only put it in the Pro phone, they have to brand it as a Pro feature, and that kind of gets them stuck.
They wouldn't
so they have to put it in
to.
both.
There's already that rumor of like how the regular phone is going to get some of these like features that are already like dynamic island and the hole punch will come. I forget what was it like 2020.
No, the dynamic island
is already coming.
Is coming to the 15 regular,
Right, because it's not a
Okay,
Pro
yeah.
feature.
Right.
It's just dynamic.
which was my bet.
Yeah.
I just want to remind.
So anything
everybody.
that they put that they brand as Pro,
yeah,
they
is only in the Pro
imply
forever.
that they're going to keep it in the Pro forever.
Right.
USB Type C may not be branded as Pro. It could
Yeah.
just be a dynamic port or something hilarious.
What they could do in the like 16, dynamic port. What they could do in the like 16 is they could put 120 hertz, but it's not LTPO. It's just 60 to 120
And
in
it
the
wouldn't
regular
be
one,
ProMotion.
and it wouldn't be ProMotion.
Interesting.
So I don't know.
Regular people would have no idea what that means, but
Yeah.
that's fair. I think they both. I think they both get USB C.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting.
I'm willing to take the
I
bad side of
love
the
that bet. I
just
love that
for
bet.
this is the big underdog bet.
The only possibility, like, there is something to be said about them making the regular one still Lightning because they can just milk the Lightning port for a little bit longer because they're making
Yeah.
licensing money on all of them.
And they'll also have a reason for people to upgrade from the 15 to the 16 when it finally gets USB C.
Yeah.
Because this is the thing. Once you get USB C on people's radar for the iPhone, then it's like, okay, AirPods, all these other accessories, everything else. People are going to start having to think about USB C in the iPhone. And so when the next one comes out, they're going to have, USB C is now in all of the iPhones, all the accessories. Hop on board, buy the port and the accessories again, like all that stuff. Apple thinks about this a lot. They've definitely had this exact conversation.
My most anticipated moment of the iPhone event this year is how they are going to tell the world that USB-C is so much better.
Yeah.
And, like,
So excited for this.
and how
We've taken
brave
a
they are for
revolutionary
moving-
port from the iPad Pro and we've put it in the iPhone.
From the Nexus 6P, we put it in the iPhone.
To be fair, we just went on a work trip and Brandon's phone died in the middle of the night because he didn't realize he brought a USB-C cable instead of a Lightning cable till like all of us were asleep.
That happened to me too this weekend.
Yeah.
I literally only brought a USB-C cable and I forgot to bring a Lightning one and my iPhone died.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
well, I'm screwed.
The day
They're
is
gonna
coming.
have a slide about like one charger for every. I'm still doing Johnny Ives. I'm doing Johnny Ives' voice like it's still him, but it's not even. It's just gonna be like an executive on stage, like, so now you can use one charger for your iPad, your MacBook, and your phone. How incredible is that?
There are also rumors
We're going to give
that-
you a special brick where you can plug in 2 USB-C things at once.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
There are rumors that the AirPods Pro, which are still the 2, they're just going to add USB-C to that too.
They should just keep it Lightning
So-
just to mess with us.
Oh, they,
Yeah.
And AirPods Max are also Lightning.
They would
right?
have to
Yeah.
update, which it is around time for them to update the AirPods Max. So if they do
USB-C.
release AirPod Max 2 with USB-C, that would be nice.
That would be insane to do all of those things as USB and then still ship a Lightning iPhone. That seems
Yeah.
insane.
That would be so
It
funny.
does seem
That
insane.
seems insane.
But doesn't the cheapest iPad come with Lightning?
lightning.
Still?
It does still have lightning. Yeah.
Oh, the like super
and
base
so
model.
and so the cheapest iPhone can still be the SE.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe that's the
That's
lightning
true.
one.
I don't know. Also, there is a rumor that the next Apple Watch, it didn't say specifically whether it was the Ultra, which is apparently getting an Ultra 2 this year.
Nice.
Which the Ultra 2 is apparently going to be coming in matte black.
was that real or was that, I saw
way.
like a render of
That's
it.
easily the most
was
exciting thing we've
It's
said.
a rumor. It's a rumor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I saw a concept of it.
But
Looks nice.
basically, every single year, they use what is effectively the same chipset in the Apple Watch. Like they update it very, very slightly every year, but it is almost not different at all. But there's
Yeah,
a rumor
like-
that apparently this year it's going to be significantly faster, which is like cool.
It's nice.
Yeah, man. Snoopy's gonna run great on that.
Yeah.
I mean, they changed the UI too with WatchOS, so now there's a bunch of widgets. Maybe they want to sort of like push this big update to the watch,
Yeah.
sort of shake things up a little bit with the watch.
If it's a significant node size change, then maybe battery life will be improved.
that
a
would be
decent
nice.
amount.
That would be
So,
really nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's kind of the Apple rumors. We got a month until that happens.
Dude,
so.
matte black Apple Watch is the craziest thing we've said this podcast. Matte black? Because I know we've had a matte black watch, but it's like midnight, so it's not really black.
Oh, that's a good point.
So like, actually,
what if
matte
it winds
black?
up being midnight?
I would be so mad.
Matte midnight.
Would you rather midnight or the silver that you have?
I like the silver.
I
think it's
love
cool.
it. I love how good that looks.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I'd say silver.
But if
But
it's
like,
matte black, you
matte
take
black.
it.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Please, please. If that's not finalized yet, someone at Apple, can you just press that button and lock that in, please? That's all I'm saying.
Last topic today. X, formerly Twitter, known as Twitter.
Are we going to say that
Twitter.
every time?
Yes.
X, you know the thing that was Twitter. That one.
It's confusing otherwise.
That's true.
The artist formerly known as Twitter.
yeah.
Is now letting you hide your blue check mark. This was something that was pretty much immediately announced when Elon bought Twitter, and it just never happened. But now they actually are letting you do it.
I'm surprised it's free.
It's not free. The check mark's not free.
The check mark's not free.
I'm surprised the ability to hide it isn't extra.
Extra.
You need X blue if you.
Well, you do need X blue.
No,
You need X Blue Plus to hide it.
X
that's a terrible
blue.
joke.
So it's funny.
It is funny.
because the whole point of getting it was like, I get a verified badge now. Like, not everybody has a verified badge. Now I have a verified badge. But now people like don't want to show that. Mm-hmm.
But they still want the benefits of it without showing it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But there was a thing on the page. Like, I asked Brandon for a screenshot of the page that shows to let you hide it. It said some features may not be available if you hide your check mark. And I was like what? That seems very vague.
Yeah.
There's only like 4 Twitter Blue features total. So which ones?
So weirdly, I think the main one that like got added, like lumped in by Elon, is like when you're a Twitter Blue subscriber, you get like priority in the algorithm, and you're like at the top of replies and things like that. And I think that's probably going to stop happening if you hide your check mark.
way.
I mean,
Because
it
then you're like showing up among the blue check marks, but you're not a blue check mark. So now if we're supposed to believe that the blue check mark indicates a high quality source or something or a real person, then why would we keep surfacing the ones that don't have a check? Like it
Maybe.
should be visually.
I see it more as like I
understandable.
paid for the blue check for priority replies, and there's someone without a blue check above me. I would be upset about that if I were one of those people.
Yeah.
I'm not.
But then like why even pay for
Just wanna make that clear.
why even play for blue? I just want to edit tweets. Is that it?
For
like,
$8 a month.
$8
Edit
a
tweets.
month?
I mean, that is why you originally got blue before all of this started, right?
That's
you wanted
true.
to edit tweets.
That was the reason I
Yeah.
had blue before he bought it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
does make sense. It is a strange one. Soon X Blue is going to have like a plan, a la carte. You pick which features you want and don't want, and then we'll be different from that.
That's wild.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Hide your blue.
hide your blue.
Hide your kids. Hide your check marks.
I'm not going to finish that. I'm not
X gonna give it to you.
I'm not going to finish that.
All right.
Let's finish with our trivia answers.
Dude.
I'm
But first,
probably
a
not-
correction from
Oh.
earlier.
We've
Okay.
never said anything wrong.
The mayonnaise they eat in space is not normal mayonnaise. I looked it up. I looked it up. There's all sorts of changes. So some of it, they have to. There's no fridges in space, so you got to make special mayonnaise.
Space is a fridge. Just put it out into space and then pull it back in.
Just open the window and grab it.
But the other thing that I found in researching is that since mayonnaise is an emulsion, apparently keeping it from separating is like tough.
I was thinking that the oils would probably
and
separate
there's a current NASA research project called Project Pasta.
Next long form podcast episode.
Where they're trying to figure out if they can make mayonnaise, among other things.
So there is no space mayonnaise.
There is space mayonnaise, but it's not Earth mayonnaise. Earlier I said if you ate mayonnaise in space, then you could be like aerospace grade mayonnaise. That is not.
I thought you were saying
true.
it's basically they're researching how to make it possible.
No. So we're talking about Earth mayonnaise and bringing it up.
Yeah.
So what they're trying to see is
Earth mayonnaise doesn't work up there.
Can you fly eggs and oil and a little bit of seasoning up to the ISS and then whip it into mayonnaise in space?
So
the scientists were too concerned whether or not they could. They didn't think whether or not they should.
I just want to say I just got back from walking Zuri and I look over and Ellis was Googling mayonnaise and I was like, what the hell did I miss?
Aerospace grade mayonnaise.
Everything.
Anyway, trivia time.
I wish I saw that.
Quick update on the score.
Sure.
Marquez has 2.
Nice.
Andrew, do you want to guess? A million?
10.
10?
1.
1. Andrew has 1. David, do you want to guess how much you have? Do you remember?
4.
4. Correct. Plus 1 point for you. I'm kidding.
5.
Whoa. Okay.
So first question. What year was the Google Play Store launched?
I'm ready.
While this is going, I also learned that salt and pepper are on the ISS, but only in liquid form.
What?
Yeah, because if you had little pepper flakes floating around, it could get in people's eyes and stuff.
They have liquid pepper?
Liquid pepper.
That's just pepper spray.
Yeah.
It's just bear mace.
NASA sent us all these James Webb Space Telescope paraphernalia pins. I want the liquid pepper, dude.
Yeah, liquid pepper. Anyway,
Aerospace grade pepper.
let's flip them around.
I'm very nervous on this one. I'm not that. Well, I'm probably wrong if they're both.
You're wrong.
Read them. What'd you guys say?
I said 2011.
I also said 2011.
It's 2012.
I said 2013.
It's 2012.
2012.
Oh,
dang.
my
So
Lanta.
close.
Okay,
so
I want to
close.
say my reasoning. Okay, the Nexus 7, the first generation Nexus 7 launched in 2012, and wow. No, it launched in 2012. I know this for a fact.
2012?
Yes.
Nexus 7?
Yes. Thank you. And they sold that tablet at a...
Good buzz. Good buzz.
They
certainly did not.
They sold that tablet at a $50 per unit loss. And the reason they did that was to onload people onto the Google Play Store.
Yeah.
Because they knew that the average cost of acquiring a customer is generally more than $50. So Google was willing to lose money. So the reason I guessed 2011 was because I figured they would have announced it before the Nexus 7 came out, but I bet you they announced it with the Nexus 7, which makes me feel really dumb.
I was going back to Nexus 4 launch.
I just took a shot in the dark, and I was just as close as both of you. How's that feel?
What is it? I was going to... Okay.
I'm screwed on this next
All
one.
right,
too.
next question.
It's fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine.
To continue with our Google Play trivia this week, Google Play, which also I totally forgot, the P used to be lowercase.
Okay.
Until 2014. Why do they do that? It's a title. Okay. Anyway, so think about how
The iPhone's lowercase.
Yeah, but that's that
It's hip.
but the P is, I don't know. Just picture it in your head, and it's so strange. Google Play was created when what 3 Google services or Google products or whatever you want to call it combined?
I don't know these. All right,
I don't know these at all. I can't
this
even
like a
take an
point?
educated guess.
A point for each correct answer, I guess.
Sure,
Maybe.
I like that.
I don't think I'm
I'm
going to
not
get
even
any
writing
points.
anything.
No.
I just want to say, I remember it changing to Play and being like, that's weird. I don't get it. Play? Like, this is weird.
But if they
now
capitalized it,
now I cannot remember what it was before. Like, I remember thinking this is weird.
Pencils down.
It's three
Pencils
phrases.
down.
Okay. Wow.
Andrews is blank.
Andrews
Buzz
is
me.
blank. All right.
Thank you.
Interesting. So
The App Store is
Yeah,
Apple.
well,
the
moron.
store, the app, Android Marketplace, App Store,
Okay,
Game Store.
Let's
and
talk about.
wait, hold
Read
on.
it
Yeah,
out.
we
Let's
need
let
to-
Marquez
I'm
go
probably
first.
wrong. All right,
Okay.
AOSP is wrong. So I wrote Android open source project. The original App Store, and then
What?
the Android App Store,
Really?
What is the name of it?
Android Market.
Android Marketplace, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did not write App Store because I was like, no, that is an iOS thing. Like, I don't think that would count.
If I had 20 extra seconds like David, I would have written Android Marketplace.
And we would have accepted it.
All right. Well, I had my pencil down, and then the games store, which I don't remember what it was called, so
They had a separate game store?
probably not.
No, I think my memory's tricking me. Anyway, David.
What did you write?
Okay, I wrote Android Market.
That's one.
Android services. Like Google Play services, but like Android services. And I put security core.
What is that?
Like Android security core. All right. Well, I got one.
I am tempted to not give you it because you were still writing after.
Long after the buzzer.
It's because I'm a slow writer.
That's
It is
not
interesting
my
that
problem,
it's slow,
David.
writing after, and we didn't talk about points per one. It was just an overall question for a singular point.
What?
No, I think we like David keep the point.
Because it's the first one I wrote.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
Thanks.
Anyway, the Android Market.
How much did he pay you, Ellis?
That's crazy that I didn't.
This,
get
I want a point too.
I think you should give Marquez it for App Store.
had
Because
to
like,
Yeah, no, I don't think that's like literally the iOS
You know what he's
version.
talking about.
I do, and I would have given it to him, but you actually wrote Android Market.
That's
So
With
you
20
took
extra
it from
seconds.
him.
Yeah, but
Oh, that's the argument.
I think everyone knows that it's the thing apps were on.
Like,
if I knew the
you had
name of it, I
also-
would have wrote that.
If one of you had also wrote like App Store, I probably would have given it to both of you because it's like, all right,
It's up to
we know
you,
what you're talking
but
about.
I
wouldn't
want
have
I want to make it known that I'm on Marquez's side for this, but it's
because you got
it's
an
up
extra
to you.
10 seconds to write it.
But I wrote it first.
Doesn't matter.
Cannot confirm.
Wow.
What is the answer?
Andrew, what did you write?
I wrote nothing
Oh.
because I couldn't think of what the name of the app store was.
It was the combination of the Android Market distributing apps, Google Music distributing music, and the Google e-book store.
Wait,
It's funny.
wait.
I thought about writing Google Music, but I was like,
Wait,
no, there's
I
Google.
remember the colors of the
There's-
tabs. Can I have points for them?
I won't be able to corroborate this.
Music was yellow, books are red, and apps are green.
This could
I
be
remember
possible.
that. The tabs.
Movies and TV were added later.
Yeah.
Wait, so they combined Google Music. Oh, and
Yeah.
then they, and
Remember
then
it
they
was a
spun
separate
it off.
app?
Well, it became Google Play Music as a separate app,
Yeah.
and Google Books is still a separate app.
So they had the separate Google Play and Movies app, and it was red, and it was weirdly ugly.
And it was separate from. You're right.
Yeah, I remember.
Wow.
I believe you mean I'm right.
I also like how we're like
also
confused by this, but Google has literally been doing this dumb for like 15 years. So
Yo.
like, why are we confused anymore?
I just had such a
That's fair.
crazy flashback.
That's fair.
And I see it in my mind's
Do you remember
eye.
the yellow headphones they used for
Yeah.
Google Play Music? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it was also that's also the AOSP icon for audio on AOSP.
They kind of look like M50s, but they're yellow.
They do.
I was just thinking
do
that.
look
I was
like
like, they did
M50s.
kind of look like M50s.
This is the nerdiest conversation we
I
had.
was just gonna go.
yeah, super in the weeds. Well, that's why we do this.
I'm such a Chad. I don't know. All right, so just to go over points, David has 5, Marquez has 3, and I 7. I have 7.
I think
Nice.
No,
cool.
whoa,
Yeah,
wow.
official. That's the official mark.
now I know who got paid off. Interesting.
Interesting.
I think that's where we end it.
That is.
Hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening this week of Waveform. Let us know in the comments which ones to talk about or react to or check out or have thoughts on next. See you guys in the next one. Peace.
Waveform is produced by Adam Molina and Ellis Rovin. We are partnered with Vox Media Podcast Network, and our intro-outro music is made by Vane Still. Also, Zuri helped us today. Shouts out Zuri. Good job, Zuri.
She's focused on Ellis right now.
All right, Andrew, welcome back.
Thank you.
We had a little, we actually doubled the population of Pixel Folds. Or, no, we didn't. It was multiplied by 1.5, so that's a terrible joke. Let's scratch that.
Keep it. How come when I screw up, it gets kept?
That was
Bad math joke.
hilariously nerdy in the wrong way.